What is Kimberly Sullivan's defense? What is she going to say? Like, will there be an explanation? Will there be a defense to the allegations here? Well, there's one really good way to find this out, and we're going to do it right now. Here with us, the attorney for Kimberly Sullivan, joining us, Ioannis Kaloidis. Ioannis, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Really do appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy, and you came down to the studio in New York tonight, so we appreciate that. So let's talk about the defense. What is the defense going to be about in this case?
Well, good evening, Vinnie, and thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. So everyone's asking what the defense is going to be in this case, and to some extent it's premature to get into specifics and details about everything that we are going to allege or what we're going to present at trial. We're still getting the discovery in this case. We're still sorting through exactly all the details about the allegation and finding out more about the state's case. What I can tell you is my client denies having done anything wrong. The defense will be that this didn't happen. The details will come out. But our defense is that she did not commit this offense.
So, and I appreciate it. I'm an attorney too, and I know your obligations in representing someone and how that works. So what role will the father, the biological father of this 32-year-old man, play in the defense? And how much do you suspect the jury will find out about the father? And how much do you know about his role in everything that transpired over the course of decades, is what the allegations are?
So we are going to get into that. We are still sifting through a lot of that information. What I can tell you is that the father is the one that dictated how his son would be raised. This was not my client's biological son. She did not make the determination as to schooling, being pulled out of school. A lot has been put on her, and that is simply not the case. We anticipate the evidence that will come out at trial will show that he is the one that made the decisions for his son.
Was she at all concerned about the health of this 32-year-old? And just going from the arrest affidavit, right, hasn't been cross-examined, I understand, but the appearance, just the physical appearance of a 32-year-old man being 68 pounds, teeth are all rotted out, the hair is matted, all of that. Did she have any concern about his health, his well-being?
I believe she did. But one thing I want to point out, he's 32 years old. She could not control whether he took care of himself properly or not. He was 32 years old. What I can tell you is she denies ever restraining him. She denies ever locking him in a room. She denies ever depriving him of any of these opportunities.
Do we know, and obviously your client lived in the house the whole time, I presume, right, with the father, her husband. At any point during the course of his life, not in the last year since the father passed away, but when the father was still in the house, did he restrain his son? Did he deprive his son of food? Because another one of the allegations was that this child, when he was a child, 2 decades ago, he was always hungry.
My understanding is there was always food in the house. There was no restrictions on the ability to get food in the house. And I know you asked about earlier, but what I can tell you, when the police went in that home, there was food in the cupboards, there was food in the refrigerator. My understanding is he had access to this.
And let's talk about the victim in the case, the 32-year-old, or the alleged victim, obviously, as to your client. I would still say he's a victim of his father as a child, being pulled out of school and then not educated. What are your... Is he not telling the truth? Do you believe that he is making allegations that are false, like he himself, not the prosecutor, but statements that he's making to investigators and to police are factually inaccurate about what was taking place in the last year?
Well, look, I don't want to come on here and bash this individual, but what I can tell you, based on the discovery I have seen, the interviews I have watched, there will be significant credibility issues. This case ultimately is going to come down to credibility. There is no independent smoking gun. There's no video, there's no admissions. It will be one person's word against another's, potentially.
And what was the nature of their relationship after the father passed away? How would you describe this stepmother child, who's an adult, obviously, but what was their relationship like? Because they're living in the same house.
I don't have specifics as to their relationship. Nothing that has been indicated to me indicates that it was a hostile relationship in any way. They both lived in the home. I'm unaware of any significant problems between them while in the home.
Okay, Ioannis is going to stay with us. He's been gracious enough to stay for 2 segments. We appreciate that. Coming up next, why was his biological mother not in his life?
That's it. I have 2 cats.
Everybody's out?
Yes.
But your stepson's still inside?
Yeah.
Lori Daybell.
Already convicted for the murders of her children.
Doomsday cult mom is now lawyer Lori.
She's representing herself.
On charges of conspiring to murder her 4th husband.
She said, I can murder you now.
She really thinks she's equipped to try this case.
She appears very sure of herself.
I have real trial experience.
It's going to be a strange trial. We'll see how it plays out.
The Cult Mom Conspiracy Trial. Live coverage begins Monday morning, only on Court TV.
That's it. I have 2 cats.
Everybody's out?
Yes.
But your stepson's still inside?
Yeah, he's right here.
Okay,
yes.
come out. Come down the road. Come on, come on. It's not safe to stay here. Come on.
All right, here he is. All right, my dog is shaking.
I know. Come down here.
That's the stepmother, Kimberly Sullivan, who is getting out of the house, and then her stepson is carried out of the house as well. That was on fire. The stepson apparently set the fire. He says he set it because he was captive in the house and wanted someone to rescue him. And now Kimberly Sullivan's been charged with a litany of charges involving what happened to that 32-year-old over the course of years inside that home. Now, that's his stepmom. This is his biological mother. And I spoke with her here on Court TV and asked her about, what happened and how her ex ended up with her son and sort of a little bit of the backstory here. Take a listen.
I know when his father and myself were together, he was not a bad guy. I don't know if he was vindictful that we had split up. I don't know. I'm still trying to grasp all this, and it's really, really, really hard. I thought the safest place he would be was with a parent, with his father. And that didn't happen.
And if you are struggling, right, and then you know that he may be able to take care of your son, that was the right choice to make. That's the choice. That's the selfless choice that a mother makes who wants the best for their child.
So. You would think so. He was kept with monsters.
That's Tracy Vallerin. Now, she's the biological mother, but she was never in her child's life. She was never there. Like, she was not a part of what was happening. He was being raised by his father and I guess his stepmother. which brings us to the next question in our investigation. And it's about Tracy. Why was his biological mother not in his life? Was she being kept away from him? Still with us, the attorney representing the stepmother, Kimberly Sullivan. Ioannis Kaloidis is still with us. Ioannis, was she purposely kept away, do you know, by her ex, by the father, by the stepmom?
So, not to my knowledge. It's my understanding, and first off, you know, my heart goes out to her. I think any parent would feel for her, and I understand the whirlwind of emotions that she may be going through as a parent. That having been said, she's never met my client. I don't believe she's ever attempted to communicate with my client. I don't believe she's ever attempted to contact my client. She's, by her own words, has never met my client, but has gone so far as to call her a monster. And that is concerning. As we are trying to ensure my client gets a fair trial, we see a lot of people that are surfacing now, people that have not been in his life, that are quick to rush to judgment and say horrible things about my client. So we do intend on pushing back. So I am sympathetic to her situation, but I don't know what she adds to this case, what evidentiary value she has. So, yeah, as far as your question as to why she might not be in his life, I think she's alluded to that herself. I don't have more details. She's alluded to having issues many years ago. I'll let other people get to the bottom of that.
Sure, and what I was wondering from your perspective, if your client had mentioned anything about purposely keeping her out, or if there was a concerted effort by the father to ensure that the mother never had a role in her son's life, but that does not necessarily seem to be the case from your perspective. Let me ask you about the house itself. Who owns the house? Does your client own the house? Does the stepson own the house?
I believe she owns the home.
Okay, and the lock. There's been a lot of talk about a lock being on the outside of the door of his bedroom. Is that something that you concede, or is that a misinterpretation of what the setup was in the house?
So what you're showing there is just one of the many pictures that were released by the Waterbury Police Department. These pictures were released without context, in the middle of a pending case, and we believe they're extremely prejudicial. Because it's unclear what locks were where. What I can tell you is a number of the interior doors had exterior locks. Those locks, we believe, were in the home prior to my client ever moving in. They were not installed by my client. And there were locks on almost all the exterior doors in the home. So we disagree with the premise that he was ever locked in that room, or that any of those exterior locks were even used.
Was he able to walk?
Yes.
Did he have do we know if he had a driver's license, or?
I don't believe so.
Did he have access to money? Did he work? Did he, I don't know if he worked remotely, or if he did anything, or had an allowance, an inheritance? Do we know any of that?
I don't know the details of that. But as far as the home was provided by my client. There was food in the home. There was water. He had access to everything within the home.
Did he ever see a doctor over the course of a couple of decades?
I don't have specifics. Based on what he has told police, he did not go to the doctor. But any decision about him going to any doctors, those are decisions that the father made.
And was there any, he's a 32-year-old man living in her home. You're saying it's her home, in her home at that point. Was there ever any discussions about, okay, well, you know, maybe you have to, you know, find your own place, or maybe you have to get a job, or were there any conversations like that inside the home?
I don't know the specifics about that.
And
as far as employment and stuff like that. I have spoken to my client. My understanding is she didn't prevent him from showering, didn't prevent him from eating, encouraged both, is actually my understanding.
And did your client work? Was she home all the time? Does she work? And I'm just wondering, because I'm wondering if there are times when he's home alone or was home alone.
Oh, absolutely. She worked a retail position about 30 minutes away from her home. She worked that position for years. He was home alone quite often, not restrained in any way.
And were there phones inside the home? Like the old-fashioned phones? I don't know if he had a cell phone, but like old-fashioned phones. And then did he have a cell phone?
I don't believe he had a cell phone, but I believe he did indicate to police that there was a landline at one point in that home.
All right. Ioannis, because we have you on here, I just want to open up. Is there anything else that you want people to know that I haven't asked you about?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The main reason why I came on here tonight is because there has been such a rush to judgment. Almost all the coverage I have seen, respectfully, assumes that this actually occurred. I have yet to hear anyone objectively question any of the allegations. When you look at the pictures, I would ask, and ask yourself what's not in those pictures. What evidence of restraint do we have? We have exterior locks on all the outside doors. There's no chains, there's no bars, there's no handcuffs, there's no physical marks showing he's been restrained. There's not even an allegation of physical violence to restrain him. There's been a rush to judgment, and I know the whole world thinks she's guilty, and the whole world thinks that we should lynch her without a trial, and that she shouldn't even have a defense. And I'm here to push back on that. This case is far from done. It is far from over. And we intend to fight this. We intend to fight this. And I'd ask people, don't rush to judgment. Because when you see the evidence, it's going to paint a different picture. And what I've told people, there's a long road from allegations in a warrant to provable facts. And you know that as a prosecutor. And this case is going to come down to credibility, and there's a lot to be done between now and the time of trial. But we're confident in our case. Ms. Sullivan has been clear to me that she has done nothing wrong. She has come to me and asked for help, and we intend to defend her, and we're going to push forward. And we're pushing back on the notion that she's guilty and we should just forego a trial. We're looking forward to a trial.
Ioannis Kaloidis, appreciate it. And you know, here at Court TV, you have an open invitation anytime we cover this story. We always want both sides. And I think our viewers understand there's always at least two sides to every story inside of a courtroom. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.